Hello, I hope you are healthy and well. The founder of the Hasidic movement, the Holy Baal Shem Tov, had a follower by the name of Ze'ev. In Yiddish, they called him Wolf. One year before Rosh Hashana, the Baal Shem Tov called Ze'ev, he called Wolf, and he said, Wolf, this year I would like for you to be the Baal Tokeya in our shul on Rosh Hashana. I want you to be the one who will blow the shofar for the entire congregation this year on Rosh Hashanah. Now, Wolf knew how to blow the shofar. He knew how to make the sounds, the tekiah, the shavarim, the teruah, the tekiah gadola. He knew all that. He knew how to do it and when to do it, with all the halachic requirements. However, in addition to knowing how to blow the shofar, Kabbalistically, there are mystical meditations that the person blowing the shofar should have while they blow the shofar. So Wolf took the opportunity and he turned to the Baal Shem Tov. He said, well, if you're asking me to be the one who will blow the shofar this year in the shul, then I want to ask of you for a favor. Please teach me the Kabbalistic meditations that I ought to have while making the sounds of the shofar. When I do the combination of the tekiah shavarim, I should think like this. If I do the combination of the tekiah teruah, I should think like that. Everything I should think while I blow the shofar this year in the shul. The Baal Shem Tov said, it's a deal. And the Baal Shem Tov sat down with Wolf and he went over with him all of the blowing of the shofar throughout the Rosh Hashanah day, what he's supposed to have in mind, what he's supposed to meditate during each combination of the sounds of the shofar. Wolf was taking it all in. He sat down with a pen and a paper and he wrote down everything the Baal Shem Tov told him. He didn't want to miss a word. And after he finished studying, he thanked the Baal Shem Tov. He took the piece of paper, put it in his pocket, and was ready to blow the shofar on Rosh Hashanah. It came Rosh Hashanah in the morning. Everyone was davening. After they finished the Shachris davening, they took out the Torahs and they read from the Torah. After they read from the Torah, it was now time for the blowing of the shofar. And Wolf goes up. He goes onto the bima, onto the podium where they read the Torah and they blow the shofar. And he puts down the shofar. He reaches into his pocket to take out the paper with all the meditations that the Baal Shem Tov had taught him. Oy vey, his pockets are empty. The paper is missing. Wolf runs back to his place to look around for the paper. Can't find it. Oy vey. What is he going to do? You see, other people in the shul don't really know what's happening, but the Baal Shem Tov does. The Baal Shem Tov, who, number one, was the person who taught him all these meditations, but also the Baal Shem Tov is a holy man. The Baal Shem Tov knows that Wolf does not know what to think while he blows the shofar. He will be blowing the shofar, but it'll be empty. It'll be empty of the meditations that the Baal Shem Tov had taught him. Wolf doesn't know what to do. He's standing there on the bima. The whole shul is quiet. They're waiting for him to make the bracha and to blow the shofar. And he breaks down crying. With a broken heart, he breaks down crying, thinking, that's terrible. The Baal Shem Tov taught me all of these meditations that I should have in mind while blowing the shofar. And here I am, blank, empty in my mind, garnished. Crying. He finally, after a few minutes, gathers strength and he whispers to Hashem, to God. He says, God, I'm not going to be blowing the shofar with all the Kabbalistic meditations the way I should be. But I want to do the mitzvah, and I want to do the mitzvah properly, in the most correct way. So I'm going to blow the shofar. And please Hashem, please God, accept my mitzvah as if it was done in the most perfect way. And with that, he picks up the shofar, he makes the brachas, and he blows the sounds of the shofar. After he finishes the davening, he's embarrassed and he's ashamed to come face to face with the Baal Shem Tov, because the Baal Shem Tov knows that although he taught him all of these mystical meditations that he's supposed to have in mind while blowing the shofar, He didn't have them in mind, and his mind was empty and blank. But the Baal Shem Tov came straight for Reb Wolf, and with a big smile on his face, he says, Wolf, Gut Yom Tiv, that was the most beautiful blowing of the shofar I've ever heard. Wolf was taken aback. He was shocked. Most beautiful? That was an empty blowing of the shofar. My mind was blank. How could that be the most beautiful sounds of the shofar that the Baal Shem Tov ever heard? As if reading the mind of Reb Wolf, the Baal Shem Tov explained himself. He says, Wolf, let me explain it to you like this. I'll give you an analogy. In the king's palace, there are many, many doors, many entranceways, many gates. Every door, every gate has its own key. If you have the right key, you open the right gate. You have the right key, you open the right door. The Baal Shem Tov said, but then there is a tool that could get you into any door and get you past any gate. It's an axe. If you have an axe, you could break down the door, open the gate. You don't need the exact key. The Baal Shem Tov told Reb Wolf as follows. He said, to have the right meditations while doing the mitzvah, to do the mitzvah in the most perfect way, that's like having the right key for the right door. It takes our mitzvah, it takes our prayers, and brings them to the correct place. But then, if you have a broken heart, then you're holding an axe. It's an axe, a broken heart, a sincere heart. The sincerity to want to do the mitzvah properly without any complications. That is an axe that opens up any door, it opens up any gate, and it brings our davening, and it brings our mitzvah to the greatest place, before our Father, our King, Hashem himself. So you might not have had all the meditations in your mind when you blew the shofar, but the fact that you wanted to do the mitzvah sincerely, with an honest heart, with a broken heart, that was the most valuable mitzvah, the most valuable, most beautiful blowing of the shofar I have ever heard, said the Baal Shem Tov. We find ourselves in an extraordinary year. And in many ways, our Rosh Hashana this year is not the same as in other years. But we want to do it right. We want to do the mitzvahs of Rosh Hashana right. We want to start the year right. It is that broken heart, it is that sincerity that is the axe that brings our davening, it brings our prayers and our mitzvahs to the greatest of places. And we are granted a good year, a healthy year, and a sweet year. I would like to wish you a good year, a happy year, a sweet year, a year of success in all that you do, a year of happiness, and if I may add, a year of togetherness. May we be together in person and see each other many times this year for simchas and for happy occasions. Kesiva v'chasima tova, l'shana tova u'mesuka. A good gebenched year. May you have a blessed year and a happy year.